the way forward for IEI. So today, on behalf of this particular Engineers Bill and Engineers Registration Forum, we have with us our two eminent speakers, Dr. Tushar K. Nath and Dr. Anil Kumar. I would like to just give a brief about Dr. Tushar K. Nath. Prior to taking over as Vice Chancellor of Sage University, he was associated with Amity University, Noida for over 4 years. He held the position of campus director in JRE Group of Institutions, a reputed engineering and management institution in Greater Noida, NCR. Dr. Nath has served as a director in a couple of technical institutions in the country, and he has served in the state, central public sector organizations, as well as the corporate sector in various capacities during his 34 years of service. He had contributed significantly in all areas of technical education during his tenure in All India Council of Technical Education, Ministry of HRD. Dr. Nath did his BSc Engineering and Electrical Engineering from REC Kurukshetra, now which is known as National Institute of Technology. He had done his MTech from Management and Systems from IIT Delhi, and his PhD in Engineering from Jadavpur University. He has been awarded Fellow and Chartered Engineer by the Institution of Engineers India. He is a life member of IST New Delhi, member IUCEE USA, member IACEE USA. He has contributed immense number of articles and papers at national and both international levels and participated in more than 100 national and international seminars and conferences. So now I welcome you, sir, on this today's event. And now I'd like to give a brief about our next speaker, Dr. Anil Kumar. Dr. Anil Kumar, FIE, LMISTE, is presently State Project Administrator of SPIU, Uttar Pradesh, for implementation of TechUp 3 projects under Ministry of Education, Government of India. This is a World Bank funded project on technical education. Earlier, he served the Institution of Engineers India as Secretary and Director General in charge and Deputy Director General. Dr. Kumar also served AICT as Deputy Director and Damodar Valley Corporation, which is a Government of India undertaking, in various senior management capacities. He is now the leading technical quality improvement program of all government polytechnics in Uttar Pradesh. Dr. Anil Kumar did his BSc Engineering in Civil with Environmental Engineering, Master of Engineering Hydrology with thesis work on environmental studies, and PhD Environmental Sciences. Dr. Kumar is basically an environmentalist, wrote many articles on environment protection during his tenure. In IEI, he also led the role of organizing Indian Engineering Congress for several years, and many national and international conferences. He is also a member of prestigious organizations like Indian Associations of Hydrologists, Roorkee, National Institute of Ecology, JNU, New Delhi, Vigyan Bharati, Solar Energy Society of India, Indian Institute of Public Administration, Indian Institution of Technical Arbitration, and Institute of Public Health Engineers. Dr. Kumar is a top-level functionary for technical education and technical education quality improvement program. So I welcome you, sir, on this today's webinar. But prior to that, prior to the speakers, I would request Mr. Samrit Kumar to just give a brief about the Rebuilding IEI initiative. Thank you.
Thank you, Dheeraj sir. Since all of you present are already members of the Institution of Engineers India, I'm not going to give any fresh introduction to it. You are aware that being a 100 years old organization having the Royal Charter, Institution of Engineers used to play a major role in the development of engineering and technology in India. It had representation in all major committees related to the engineering field in India. Institution of Engineers facilitated the formation of the Indian Standards Institution, now BIS, the Indian National Academy of Engineering, INAE, Council of Architecture, COA, and many others. Before the formation of AICTE in 1987, it was the accreditation body for engineering courses in India, and IEI accredited the first ever IIT degree courses of IIT Kharagpur in 1956. Since 1928, IEI used to conduct the prestigious AMI examination, which leads to degree level education to diploma holders engaged in the profession. But unfortunately, due to poor leadership by the council members of IEI during the last decade, it has lost its past glory. The recognition of the prestigious and century old AMI course has been withdrawn by the government. The apathy and incompetency of the present council members, who never held a responsible position during their service life, have resulted in the complete detachment of IEI from the government. The members of IEI now do not get any chance to present their views in government forums. To regain the past glory of IEI, to project it in the national arena as the responsible representative of engineers, to ensure registration of engineers under the banner of IEI, to revive the century-old AMI course, to organize high-quality international and national symposiums, to ensure participation of all members in the national development, and to diversify IEI in line with NEP 2020 and National Skill Qualification Framework. A large number of eminent engineers, academicians, consultants, and other corporate members have come forward. We, as well-wishers of IEI, who want to see IEI back to its glorious position in the national and international arena, would request all of you to kindly support this group of eminent people, the corporate members, in their noble endeavor. Details on why rebuilding IEI initiative is given on its website, and all of you can Google and know the details. We already received a huge response from our members in support of our initiative. We also require your active participation and desire to utilize your expertise and experience to the best extent in this way forward. We request you to kindly spare a minute to fill up the feedback link given on the website. In the end, I would just like to mention a famous quote by Theodore Roosevelt: "Do what you can with what you have, where you are." And we solely believe in that. Uh, I thank you all and expect your wholehearted support. Over to you, Dheeraj sir.
Thank you, Samrit, for a beautiful introduction on the Rebuilding IA initiative. And I'd like to tell every one of you that Mr. Samrit Kumar is one of the eminent engineer who is working in the field of artificial intelligence in a very reputed organizations in Bangalore. So we are glad that people like him, young people like him, has came forward to help this Rebuilding IA initiative and being a part of it. Thank you so much, Samrit, for your beautiful introduction.
Thank
So,
you.
sir, now I would request our eminent speakers, starting with Dr. Tushar K. Nath, to address the audience, please. Thank you so much, sir. Sir, you have to switch on your audio. You unmute.
Okay. Yeah. Am I audible?
Yes, sir. You are.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. You can
Yeah.
go ahead.
All distinguished panel members.
Sir, you have to unmute, sir. It has got muted. Yeah.
Okay. And esteemed members of the Institution of Engineers who are in attendance today. Good evening to you all and welcome to this wonderful webinar. I really feel honored and privileged that I'm here today. I must thank my friend, Dr. Anil Kumar, for granting me this opportunity to share my thoughts on this issue. It is very recently that I came to know about this initiative. And this initiative is, I should not call it an initiative, I think it's a movement. And this movement has been spearheaded by Dr. Anil Kumar, and I'm extremely happy about it. And I'm trying to understand still, because this is my first participation in the group. So I would like to highlight some of the background and which I myself had gone through the process of institutional engineers. And then I thought it is the right forum that I can share my thoughts into this. Now, I'll be more comfortable if I call it a consultative meeting, because I believe that we are in the process of setting an agenda for the institution of engineers with a new kind of vision that is needed in this 21st century India. Now I could see that I've been seeing that Institute of Engineers almost for last 20, 25 years. And for particularly during last 2 decades, I could see that fall. I mean, it is like falling from the grace, the kind of past glory and this historical legacy that institution was carrying. And that was losing. And that was losing its shine. That I could understand when I was in university in the year around 2000. And then this matter cropped up during that period, because that was the time when it was again reviewed nationally, whether AMI to be continued or discontinued. Unfortunately, I was the fellow member by that time, and I was head of the legal cell, and the matter landed on my table. And then, though there was a lot of reservations against giving extension to the AMI program, we took a very strong stand, particularly from the legal cell. And we had strongly supported Institution of Engineers. As because we supported Institute of Engineers for AMI program, we had to logically support other similarly placed institutions I will not name. So all were clear. But then that period of time, it was already written on the wall what is going to happen to the Institution of Engineers because of the very fact, the leadership issue. So you have seen that institution which is there for the last 20 years, it had its own soul, the Atma. And you could see that Atma was losing. I mean, and finally it is lost. And I believe that AMI is no longer there. And AMI, I strongly believe it was the heart of the institution. And it was the oxygen from the government which was supplying to this institution of engineers that has been snapped now. Now that we could see it was happening then, but I don't know why certain steps were not taken at that point of time. And during the same period, another interesting event happened. That was introducing engineers bill. And that was by none other than the special secretary in the Ministry of Education now, MHRD then, and he introduced this bill, and he was seeking the support of AICT and ministry for this. And again, fortunately or unfortunately, it came on my table because I was heading the legal cell. And in fact, when this bill was given to me, I was told very clearly that AICT is not going to support this. We have to oppose it. In fact, I was the one that representing AICT in that meeting where Special Secretary Professor Chanda was chairing, along with the entire hall was full. I think it was one of the most important meetings in those days. And then I was feeling a little awkward seeing that, something needs to be done for the engineers. And I was arguing with my own leadership in AICT. I was telling them, if you are not allowing engineers bill, which is needed really, because that registration of engineers must be there, because we are giving that kind of support through that COA bill, Pharmacy Council, and all many other council, nursing council, but we don't have an engineering council. So at the back of the mind, I was really looking at the support from AICT to give some kind of concurrence to it. But when I was reading the bill, I realized that there's a lot of contradictory clause which is going very against the tenets of AICT Act. And that was the direct confrontation and contradiction with the central act like AICT and the most powerful authoritative body of government of India. So there was an ego issue as well. But what I suggested to the leadership then, that if you are not allowing engineers bill to happen, why don't we grant of charter under Section 10L of AICT Act? And nobody, I tell you that nobody in the leadership in AICT in the ministry have ever gone through 10L of AICT Act. I never understood even if they have gone through what is the purpose of it. And I was called by the chairman. And he asked me particularly, what is this 10L? Right, and I explained what is the 10L. I told them that by giving the grant of charter, you will be empowering the institution, and the institution will be in a position to really take on all that issues associated with a particular profession, the engineering profession. In IICT, what we are doing, we are only handling the education. But then we are not handling the professional practices. And the professional practices and the engineering as a profession must be dealt, must be handled, and must be given some kind of authority to some organization, because the IICT is not into this. And secondly, when you have created an organization like NBA, National Board of Accreditation, under 10U of IICT Act, and that is not government body, there's not a body under the separate act. It is the part of IICT Act. Like NAC has been created under UGC Act. So Act has so much of power, and when this power has come from the parliament, why don't we utilize it? And with a great difficulty, I could convince my leadership that yes, grant of charter can be given to institution as a bargain towards that engineers bill. And I attended the meeting and I proposed that. Can you believe, unfortunately, possibly they didn't even understand what I was saying. And then they flatly refused, thinking there's so much overconfidence in them. They're thinking that they can get parliament, agree to it, and they can get that bill passed. But that never happened. And that was when I'm talking about 20 years back. I think that was the last meeting and that was the final meeting, and nobody even talked about it later. Though the Council of Engineering Council of India, ECI, has been established, and that remains on the paper. Everybody knows about it. So they tried their best to introduce the bill, and that never happened. Now I come back to certain background again, why we are talking about it now. But there's very important juncture we are at this moment. Now, if I see there's some statistics, I believe that as per ICT might have given around 20 lakh seats by now. It is more, now it is going down. And thanks to the Supreme Court, Bharati Darshan judgment, that there may be all the private universities put together, there may be another 10 lakh seats. So there are total around 30 lakhs capacity that we have created in India. 30 lakhs. Now, if I take around 10 year, say 2010 to 20, we might have and must have produced more than 1 crore engineers by now. And if I take around 30 years, generally we consider 30 years is the lifespan of any profession. In 30 years, we might have created or produced around minimum 2 crore engineers, if not 4 or 5 crores. If I take this minimum 2 crore figure, and I understand the membership as of today stands at 2 lakhs only, I could see this figure. If that is the scenario, then it is only 1% of the graduates, 1% of the engineering profession. So do you really need an organization as a professional body which only represents 1% of the entire community, entire engineering fraternity? And that is one of the most important points, that nobody takes institution of engineers seriously. I was heading a lot of engineering colleges as a director, and I was asking that faculty member even they didn't know what to talk about the students. When we are doing an engineering, I'm talking about the 78, 80, during that period, we knew in the first year that, there's an institution called Institution of Engineers, and we'll be automatic members. 40 years back, we are knowing about it, but the students of this generation, they don't know. Reason being that we are not in a position to connect with the students' community here. As I said, the Atma is lost. So that is the most important point that we need to discuss, why it is happening. And then, there's another historical fact that I said that, we lost that opportunity 20 years back when the grant of charter could have been given. Now, this momentum lost, that 20 years ago that we lost it. Now the momentum can be regained again. And why we are discussing it now, there's another reason is this. Institution of Engineers has completed 100 years. And now we are trying to see what is that we are going to have from the institution after 100 years of establishment, whether it is going the right direction, and if it is a fall and falling from the grace, why it is like this. So there's a need for some kind of, as a stakeholders, because we are the members of this, as a stakeholders, we have a responsibility. And we have the responsibility to send the right kind of team to lead the council. And that is why the reason is that we are here. Another very important reason, the occasion, I must say, why we are discussing this is the NEP 2020. Because in the NEP 2020, which is, if implemented, it might take a couple of years, but it has to be implemented in that direction only. And if it is implemented, it gives us an opportunity to really look at the engineering profession as a whole. We need to look at that engineering as an education as a whole. And this opportunity has come now. And if it is lost now, and then it is never. So that is one of the reasons we need a very right kind of mix in that institution of engineers who has the capacity to understand this first. And secondly, take the leadership forward and take that institution forward and every organization, they have a vision document. I don't think that Institute of Engineers have ever built a vision document. So now, if you look at that, which way the education is going, in the age of, we call it a Industry 4.0. So fourth industrial revolution is bringing a different kind of dimension to the education system. What will be taught tomorrow? Today we don't know. That is the kind of challenges that academicians, researchers, scientists are facing. Today we call it everywhere is the artificial intelligence or intelligent automation. This is the buzzword. And today what we are thinking, which is not possible, maybe tomorrow, maybe another 10 years down the line, because in first 20 years of this century and these 2 decades, where that innovation has happened, we call it a kind of disruption has happened. It's a disruptive innovation that has happened. And you can imagine there's another 10 years, 20 years down the line, what is going to happen? You can't even imagine what is going on. Now, in that kind of situation, when the situation is so fluid, so dynamic, and we have a static organization which is simply not responsive to anything. The Institution of Engineers was the institution which is to be, representing India in the international forum. And today it is not even called in the Indian forum. It is not to be seen anywhere. They are not consulted as a policymaker. I don't think that any kind of input to the Institution of Engineers has the capacity to talk about that NEP. And I don't think for the last 10 years that we have been drafting this NEP. And in fact, I had given a lot of inputs to this policymakers. I set up an institution like Committee of Public Policy, and under that we did it. And in fact, I was knowing that which way that policy was going and how it is being handled. But that I don't think that that kind of input came from the Institution of Engineers because they may not have that kind of capacity. So this is the time that we must think very, very seriously as to which way that our profession has to go. Because we belong to a class and we belong to an elite class of engineering profession. And then if you look at that engineering profession as a whole, its contribution to the society, I think it is number one compared to any other profession in this country and the world. So therefore, being a corporate member and being that part of this particular institution, the glorious past, we cannot allow it to die down the way it is dead today. So that is the reason that we are here to discuss. And now we need some kind of vision, and then we must give that kind of input to the new leadership, that how to reshape the engineering education and how to reshape our engineering profession. And then this is why we are here today. In fact, another issue must be discussed eventually, because 100 years we have already crossed. Now, this is the time that the Institution of Engineers must be given a status of a heritage institute under UGC Act, because it's a heritage institution. And that kind of status must be given to the Institution of Engineers. And then once we are able to take that institution forward and put it on the right track, then many things can happen. And let me tell you that today's discussion is supposed to be on the engineers bill and the engineers registration. I am not talking about it now because I'm just giving the perspective why we should be discussing this. Because the engineers bill might not even happen in the future. But then, as you know, because of the NEP 2020, UGC and the ICT is going to be in the air because it can be closed down any moment. And then all these statutory bodies will be subsumed with another council, whether National Higher Education Council or whatever it is. If that happens, then the ICT Act goes, UGC Act goes. But before that, we must present our thought process through at least a 2050 vision of Institution of Engineers, present to the Government of India, present to ICT, and demand under Section 10L of the ICT Act before it goes. And this is the last opportunity. I tell you that if you talk about the 10L of the ICT Act, this matter becomes very light. And people out of even their, innocence, they might even grant this. And once you get it, you understand how strong that, clause is, because it's as good as getting a power from the parliament. And even if ICT, is dislodged, I am sure all these provisions, some way or other, will be included in some place in the new form of commission or whatever it is. So the institution of engineers will be able to survive with this. But it will be a wonderful thing if you're able to convince the current dispensation for introducing the engineers bill. And then if it is introduced, it is cleared, obviously, because of this government position now. And if you can do it, nothing like it. With these words, I think a lot of time I've taken. There's a lot of other things I thought I should be taking, but then I am sure that we have a wonderful, team of experts here, and I leave it on to you to really take this matter forward. And then I request that Dr. Anil Kumar to really explain further, give his share of thoughts, and that panel member can discuss on this registration bill and engineers bill. Thank you so much for your attention. Good day.
Thank you, Tushar, sir, for your wonderful insights on the various aspects of today's webinar. I will request Dr. Anil Kumar, sir, to address the gathering today. Thank you so much. Sir, please unmute yourself.
Thank you very much, Dheeraj. It's indeed my great pleasure to be part of this great webinar. And more particularly, we are going to discuss, rather we are already discussing, a very, very important issue, that is the Atma of Institution of Engineers, what my friend Mr. T.K. Nath has told. And he has correctly told that Atma has gone. When Atma, the soul, has gone, then II has lost its glamour. II has lost its visibility. II has lost its connect with the government. And once you have lost connect with the government, you are nowhere in decision-making process. And once you are nowhere in decision-making process, then very correctly Mr. Nath told that out of 2 crore of engineers, if total membership in II is 2 lakhs around, the percentage is 1%. So does II is a representative body representing only 1% of the engineers in the country? No, it's a very peculiar and very sad state of affairs that requires soul searching. But very unfortunately, for the last 10 years, none of the leader of II, no council has ever thought of, debated, and they will never debate. Just see how they are scared about giving their agenda and minutes on the website. Have you ever seen on II website the agenda of the council meeting? No. Have you ever seen the minutes of the council meeting on the website? No. Have you ever seen the annual report of the IS and annual account statement on the website? No. So when the country does not know about the debate going on in the council, the highest decision-making body, how we can come to realize? Then a large number of engineers from across the country, from academics, from industries, both PSUs and from the government, from research laboratories, individual consultants. So large number of diverse group of engineers from Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, Kerala, Bihar, Uttar Pradesh, Odisha, Gujarat, Maharashtra, almost every state representing, they were so aggrieved and they were so sad about the present state of affairs of the II that they wanted to contribute, they wanted to restore II to its past glory. So they started an independent initiative. Mind it, rebuilding II is not against II. Rebuilding II is trying to do supplementary work for the II to regain its lost glory. We are part and parcel of II. If II disown us, let them disown. Only few individuals can disown us who are really does not matter in protecting the interest of II. Nobody is ever talking about MI. Nobody is ever talking about It is a fact that MI in the present format is not going to be accepted by the government. The government has made very clearly. Then we must think what is the way out. There are three ways out. Number one, retransformation of the MI in line with the digital education policy of Government of India and in line of NEP 2020. So you have to reformat it, retransform it, and with the reformat and retransport proposal go to the government. What last I have told, it was news for me also, and I have learned it today that there is a provision in UGC to grant II the heritage status. I will discuss with Mr. Nas separately how we can carry over forward. That if II can give a heritage status, then II can revive the MI in the format in which digital policy of Government of India wants, national education policy wants. So one way of alternative of MI. Second alternative, retransformation of MI, or rather we say realignment of MI in line with the NSQF, National Skill Qualification Framework. There are 6 levels of examinations. And once you pass out level 6, as per the notification by the Gazette of India, you are automatically equivalent to graduate engineer. So there is no need to go to Government of India for graduation, graduate equivalence. Automatically. Why II cannot realign the program in line with the skill qualification framework? We can, in all disciplines, we can start level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4, level 5, level 6. And we can, it can be a dual certification program. One certificate, II can give up MI, and one certificate, level 6 certification, to be granted by competent body, which I am not aware about the competent body, what NSQ is going to make. For example, suppose Melbourne University and IIT Delhi are doing joint PhD collaborative programs. So you are having 2 certificates, one from IIT Delhi, one from Melbourne. So MI is our brand, MI is our Atma. So we can save MI, but MI in the present format cannot be saved. The things should be made clear, loud and clear. It has to be retransformed, it to be realigned. So 2 proposals we have to make: retransformation in line with the digital policy of the Government of India and realignment in line with the NSQF. I am just quoting one example from the NEP 2020. When under NEP 2020, except medical education and law education, all education will come under single umbrella, like Higher Education Commission of India, HECI. And HECI having 4 verticals, each vertical addressing one issue. What will be the role of Bar Council? What will be the role of Council of Architecture? What will be the role of Dental Council of India? What will be the role of professional bodies? NEP has clearly defined that, mind it, that these professional body will be acting as professional standard setting boards, and Higher Education Council of India will be in collaboration with the professional standard setting boards will design the curriculum. So in line with the NEP 2020, II has the potential to become the professional setting board of India so far as engineering education is concerned. Fine, AICT can play the role of education, but professional setting board role can be played by II. But as because Mr. Samrit Kumar has clearly told, II has become visionless, lack of leadership. The person heading the II does not know where to take it. So what will happen? They are not aware that there are opportunities. They have not done the SWOT analysis. I'm not talking about strength, weakness. I'm only talking about opportunities. There is big opportunity. There are 3 opportunities before II to grab. One was the valuers examination. What IEI has done? IEI has become a stooge of ICAI, and they are promoting their values examination. And it has been clearly debarred in the bylaws of India, IEI, that IEI or its member, IEI cannot indulge into any commercial activity. But taking commission from ICAI by way of selling their products is also a profit-making activity. This is debarred what they are doing. Why don't you create under value education? You can yourself create under section 8 a body. It can be II value education body under section 8. And section 8 organization under Company Act 2013 have been empowered to start such program. But I as an individual has given a detailed concept note to the President of India 6 months back. I wanted 5 minutes. Please arrange a discussion. I like to present before the eminent member of the council. I was not allowed. I have already given a concept note how MI can be realigned in line with NSQF. They are not bothered about that. What they are telling, that we have asked ST, Engineering Staff College of India, to start a university. They are full and they are making us also full. If at all ST can become a state university, it can become a state university like Techno India in Calcutta, nothing more than that. So only students of Telangana can be enrolled, not even from Andhra Pradesh, mind it. So it cannot be all India. The alternative is one of the director of IIU, a very eminent director, I'd like to quote his name, Mr. Nilanjan Sen Gupta, and I as a deputy director general at that point of time, jointly moved forward a concept note that how ETSIL had prepared to prepare a DPR for II and to place before Government of India that in a non-formal mode to start a skill university by II as a national university to be passed by an act of parliament. But nobody bothered. Similarly, the case for engineers bill. The engineers bill, the concept of engineers bill first came in 1970. And at that point of time, a committee was formed. The name of the committee was Barve Committee. It was formed by the Planning Commission, and they had identified the need to fulfill two essential requirements: a statutory recognition of professor of engineering and registration of engineers for proper growth and development of engineering professor in the country. But till that, nothing had happened. Prior to 2014, there is a global body in the world, International Engineering Alliance, and International Engineering Alliance had 3 accords: Washington Accord, Sydney Accord, and Dublin Accord. Washington Accord for degree examination accreditation, Sydney Accord for diploma examination, and Dublin Accord for technician education. So International Engineering Alliance has 2 wings. So now Government of India is being represented through National Board of Accreditation. IA role has gone. That is another wing of International Engineering Association. That is a profession. II became the member of another wing of International Engineering Alliance, and II was granted permission for certification of professional engineers. But mind it, it has been clearly written, II can go for certification of only those courses whose courses are accredited by NBA of India or by anybody accredited who is a member of the Washington Accord. So II programs are not accredited, so MI graduates cannot be accepted. But II is technically II is maintaining the international register. Again, under IPEA it has been written, and name of that body, parallel to Washington Accord for engineering profession in the globe, the name is International Professional Engineers Association, IPEA. IPEA, every 5 years, they accredit the program certification system of various countries and they have accredited the professional engineer certification system of India, means Institution of Engineers India. How it can be accepted in Qatar? Because there is a clause there. For transboundary movement, there has to be a tri-party agreement between IEI and respective professional body of that country and the two countries. As because IEI is away from the government, IEI has not been mandated by the government, IEI has not been in tune with the government, so it is a foolish attempt on our part to say that we are maintaining an international register of IPEA, means professional engineers, because even the professional engineer certification, though recognized by IPA globally, it is not recognized in India. If somebody asks from government of India whether it can recognize or not, nobody is there to say. So even if government of India, the three way of engineers bill, how we can address the engineers bill? If engineers bill cannot come, how we can address the engineer certification? We can ask government of India that in the IEI, Royal Charter of IEI can be amended by the Parliament of India, and IEI can be allowed for registration of engineers. Only one line. And in that, necessary regulation will be framed by IEI in consultation with government of India. If this amendment can be done, then it has the statutory and legal enforcement within the country, and IEI will become the IEI will become the depository of records of all engineers. Without engineers bill, this can be done. Second way, without an engineers bill, IEI can get a mandate by government of India to become a member of International Professional Engineers Association and got authorization to maintain professional engineer certification. If that can be done, again, in a different format, you can maintain the register of Indian professional engineers. And third alternative, what Nas has told, through a particular sub-clause of the AICTE Act 1987. So before without going into much detail, because there are other speakers as well and panels, I will only say that there is a way forward for IEI, and there is a great opportunity for IEI. We want to contribute. Rebuilding IEI is ready to go hands in hands with IEI. We are ready to cooperate them. We are ready to prepare the document. We are ready to guide them at any stage of time. And my friend Mr. Nath has told that he will be preparing a document. I can see Mr. M.K. Jha has already come. I will not take much time. And I like to close it here. Before closing, I must say once again that there is a great opportunity for IEI, and we should not lose time. With these few words, I express my heartfelt thanks to Mr. Dheeraj, who has given me a chance to share my little thought with you. Thank you very much, sir. Over to Mr. Dheeraj.
Thank you so much, Dr. Anil Kumar, sir. And indeed, I would like to place on record that during my tenure in Institution of Engineers, Dr. Anil Kumar, sir, has guided me in each and every steps in following the path of sincerity, honesty, as well as improve my capability in various development of the Institution of Engineers. Thank you so much, sir. Now, since there is a paucity of time, so with the permission of all, we would like to start today's panel discussion. And before that, I would request our panelists.
Dheeraj sir, 1 minute. Give few minutes time to Mr. M.K. Jha. At least 5 minutes. He has already come.
Okay, sir.
M.K. Jha, sir. Huh?
Yeah, already he has logged with.
5 minutes.
He has already logged in, sir, but with another name. So he's there. Yeah, he's already there, sir. So I request our panelists to kindly switch on their videos for the visibility of our audiences today in this particular webinar. I would request Professor Srinivas, sir, to kindly come online. Thank you so much, sir. Thanks for coming. Now, before starting the today's panel discussion, I would like to give a brief introduction about our panelists today. But due to some unforeseen circumstances, one of our panelists, Professor Indramani, is unable to join. But we will go ahead with it, but with Professor Srinivas Singh sir and Professor M.K. Jha. So I would like, before that, I'd like to just give a brief introduction of these two eminent gentlemen. Professor Srinivas Singh, FIE, FIEEE, FIET, FNAE, FIETE, obtained his MTech and PhD in electrical engineering from Indian Institute of Technology, Kanpur in 1989 and 1995, respectively. Presently, he is the professor in the higher academic grade pay in the Department of Electrical Engineering, IIT Kanpur. He was Vice Chancellor of Madan Mohan Malviya University of Technology, Gorakhpur during April 2017 to July 2020. He also served Uttar Pradesh State Electricity Board, IIT Roorkee, and Asian Institute of Technology, Bangkok, Thailand in various leadership capacities. Dr. Singh received several national, international awards. He works in power systems area and has published more than 500 research papers with a high HS index of 53. And he's a recipient of Humboldt Fellowship of Germany and Otto Mondstadt Fellowship of Denmark, which is one of the most prestigious fellowships in the world. He became the first Asian to receive 2013 IEEE Educational Activity Board Meritorious Achievement Award in Continuing Education. He is also a recipient of INAE Outstanding Teacher Award 2016 and IEEE R10 Region Asia Pacific Outstanding Volunteer Award 2016. Dr. Singh is appointed as IEEE Distinguished Lecturer of the Power and Energy Society from 2019 and Industry Application Society for 2019-2021. He is also a recipient of an NPSC 2020 Academic Excellence Award, and he is our mentor for committed to reveal the IEI and restoring its pride and glory. Thank you, Professor Srinivas Singh, sir, for being one of the panelists. So now I'm coming to Dr. Mithilesh Kumar Jha. Professor Mithilesh Kumar Jha is a professor in a higher academic grade in the Department of Chemical Engineering and Head, Center for Engineering and Environment, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar National Institute of Technology, Jalandhar, which is a national institute of national importance. He has been elected as President of the Indian Institute of Chemical Engineers for the period January to December 2021. He has guided a numerous number of research scholars for PhD and ME in the field of chemical engineering, hydrocarbon engineering, biochemical engineering, environmental engineering, new and renewable energy, etc. He has more than 100 research papers in both national and international journals, conferences, and are credited to his name. Besides this, Dr. Jha has also chaired a number of sessions in national and international conferences and organized many conferences, seminars, workshops, short-term training programs, etc. He has served in review committees of national and international journals in the area of chemical engineering, energy, environment, hydrocarbon, etc., and visited USA, UK, Australia, Thailand, Mauritius, and many other countries for chairing the technical sessions, interactions, and presenting papers. He is also the examiner for PhD and MTech cases of National Institute of Technologies, CFTIs, state universities, etc. He has served as director ABVGIET Shimla, which is a Himachal Pradesh government institution, and a member of the Finance Committee, SSS NIVE Kapurthala. So we welcome you, sir, on this today's panel discussion. I would request Professor Srinivas Singh, sir, to moderate this this panel and carry on along with the discussions on the today's theme. Thank you so much, sir.
Okay. Good afternoon and good evening. Basically, now it is 5 o'clock, I guess. Yeah. So it is there's two issues are there. One, we are talking about the engineer's bill, and second is basically the revamping of IEI. Just I see what are the problem. Why I'm saying this? Because I'm very much active volunteer in IEEE. And at the same time, I started in India at the IEI and IEEE together in somewhere 2011 or 2010. And I would basically volunteered the both sides. I was also Kanpur local chapter chair in the 2012, 11-12. And I also become the IEEE UP section chair in 2013 and 14. And just in this 10 years, approximately, I see where IEI going and where IEEE is going. You just see, and I work in the India Council chair also of where the 60,000 members are there only. And it's a highly expensive membership because every year a volunteer has to pay 8,000 for the member, and for a student is a 2,000 every year. And still people are continuing and the growth is there. But the IEI one-time payment, but still it will go and to make people, even though make a member or fellow or whatever you can say, people are hesitant. The question is why? That is a lot of issues, even though I try to analyze why these people are not going to be connected with the IEI, which is our national professional body. And we are basically not, when suppose you are becoming a fellow of IEI, oh, fellow is mil jata hai, bas bhar dijiye. Because we have not maintained the quality and the other things in making the membership and the other category also. That's okay. That's one aspect that is highly debatable. Many people say why to less people, why to more people. You see, even though INE, you see the INSA, you see other science academies, how they are making the members, what are the criteria? We can make the people the fellow, we can make the member, we can make the here. So the Institution of Engineers works on two principles. First, it was starting giving the degree, and then it was trying to connect the people with the terms of publication. The publication is also at the very bad shape, even though we were submitted the paper long back. Those papers were accepted in IEEE transaction, but not accepted in IEI. The question then people started moving away from the Institution of Engineers, that there is a lot of politics and other things are happening. Truly, I'm speaking very my heart, this is my experience I'm sharing. So the publication also, you can say, where is publication there? People don't want to send. IIT people say they don't want to send Institution of Engineers publication. Why? One time it was bright, it was very charming, and people were trying to publish. But we have it degraded in the publication also. Coming to the conference, where the people are going to be connected. The conference I tried to organize here in the Kanpur local center when I was chairman. A lot of bureaucratic setup is there. Oh, the chairman will be the council chair, electrical division, this. Why? It is basically, it should be given the full freedom. There should be some decentralized system that they should organize. And I know the some of Institution of Engineers, they are doing very good. They are going to, but the many are in the dormant. Only they sit, eat, and finally go by. Only the 5-10 people are those are members, they are coming. There's no event, almost just going here and there and showing on the paper. This is the reality, I can tell you. Whole basically the mission and vision, complete reorganization is basically required to look up, and we require to stay. Because this is a volunteer. Those are the member, RAMI, whatever the fellows, etc. It is a volunteer. In volunteer, this is given to the chance to the people so that it keep on circulating. And people can give their vision and their mission, and so that we can achieve all these objectives. So here, because being a highly even though paid, because the employees also, that is another concern. Because I found many employees, their salaries are so much high and they were not working properly. Many centers I found there's a lot of corruptions and even the embezzlement of financial regulation. I found here in the Kanpur, there is for the last 10 years, we are fighting with the court, both criminal and other things, and we are putting a lot of money rather than collecting the money. So that basically, that certain, we have to have certain mechanisms, and it is very open-minded that is required, that people should sit. It is not for me, it is we have to see for the future, not the current one, how to make an active and to make the people again going to be connected. So that basically that vision, and even I was approached by Anil Kumar Ji, then I was basically, this time I'm contesting for the council. Otherwise, I was not interested at all because I was knowing it is a dying. Already say Atma has gone. Really, it is Atma has gone. To put it the Atma, really we have to work very hard and very honestly, I say, very honestly, it is not for only for the post, but we should, if you are just coming forward, we have to do something so that maybe it is not one day we can, break the ice. It will require several years. But I'm sure if we are honest and we are trying to do, and I believe this committee, all this EI rebuilding is basically committed that if that they will come, with maybe they're not 100% majority, or maybe even though 60 and 80% are coming, still I'm sure that we can protect and we can take this IEI at its own glory. Regarding AMI, examination system, why people were thinking only distributing the degree, getting the money, they were very happy. And once it was stopped, now everything is stopped. So we have to no doubt a lot of the way out are there. Now the NEP is there, digital technologies are there. These things are very, very required. So that's we will be working. Already we are talking. So I will not go much about the problems. Certainly we are having the ideas, and I'm sure with these ideas we can do. Regarding the this engineers bill, it was even though when I was the chair, this came to me, and then we started writing to the letter to the MHRD and here and there. No doubt it's a 44 years. 1970 it was passed by proposed, and now in 2009 again MHRD started doing something, but nothing has happened. We are basically not recognizing, and that's the basically now new organizations are coming up. In Gujarat already Civil Protection Act has been passed only for civil, not for other professional body. So many things are there that we should come on the umbrella. We should basically try to protect the interest of our professional body, that is the Institution of Engineers. And I'm sure with the help of the various and engineers, bill is basically giving that right for the various things like the Consumer Protection Act, forming of the councils. All these things are basically once it will be there, and the representation of Institution of Engineers at the various bodies, then we can say and we can connect, and that is important. So that's basically the need of our, and hope this complete committee which is coming forward, and the people will come forward for basically making its glory as it was in the past almost 100 years. So thank you. Let us other people should also apply. Now, Jha Saab, you can share your views. Unmute. Jha Saab, can you unmute?
Already unmuted. Good evening to everybody, especially Professor S.N. Singh and all others for joining and giving me an opportunity for this. So I think the first thing which I have in my mind regarding again this engineers bill, and then you can say, because in what happens in many other countries, these professional bodies are so important, so powerful, and all these things. They have quasi-judicial power in connection with many things, which at present in India we do not have, and many issues which should be decided by our professional body, like Institution of Engineers and all these things. So this is being decided at government level and court level and all these things. So that is one of the things. And again, engineers bill, which is the need of the hour, but due to one way and other way and all these things, it is still pending. And we have not seen it.
Yes, sir. Hello. Hello. Sir, are you able to hear me? Yeah, Dr. Srinivas, sir.
What happens like recently, my exam is better. Hello.
Sir, your voice is not coming clearly. Dr. Srinivas, sir.
I have already spoken. I think Jha Saab is speaking.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much, sir. I thought that you have something more to say, sir. That's why I'm asking you, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. So I would request our Professor Mithilesh Kumar Jha, sir, to just speak on this thing. Thank you so much.
I think Professor Jha is not connected right now.
Yeah, there's some issue. Yeah, he's getting connected.
He is connected.
So I would request Professor M.K. Jha to please address accordingly on this particular.
Yes, sir. Am I audible, sir, now?
Yeah, you are audible. Yes, sir. You're very much audible.
Yes. Yes, sir. So the first point, which just I want to repeat again, regarding this quasi-judicial power being given to professional body, like in many other countries, these professional bodies are very important, very powerful and all these things, and many issues are being handled at professional body level itself, which in India, it is being handled by at government level or at court level and all these things, like so many things. I don't want to discuss in that. And then second thing, sir, like what happens, the recent government of India as on its own, they have issued okay, after 2013 this AMI examination or any examination which is being conducted by professional body, so now they are not allowing us, and again matter is still pending in the court and all these things, and I don't think this matter will be settled by court, because in Indian judicial service and all these things, time bar is not important. In my view, this for this matter, because I have this full day 2-day discussion with AICT, with chairman AICT, vice chairman AICT, member secretary AICT, and many others, and their view is this matter settled by government of India directly and on its own engineers, when in only 5,000, 10,000 rupees, or you can say poor rupees, a poor person, a down.
Sir, your voice is breaking. Professor Jha, sir, your voice is breaking, sir.
Professor
I
Jha,
will
may
request-
Professor
I
Jha
will
may close
request
this
you-
video. May close this video to improve the
Yeah.
battery.
Sir, what you can do is that I think your internet speed is slow. So I request you to just close your video and switch on the audio and you can start speaking, sir. Or you can disconnect and reconnect if you're having some problem.
Yeah, his bandwidth is low, I think.
Yeah, there is some internet connectivity issue from his end.
I
So
think
I am.
meanwhile,
I really.
I can request, I think, Anil Kumarji and TK Nathji to share if something is some more addition, etc. is there, so that we can start discussing.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I think.
So-
Anil Kumarji.
Yeah,
Sir is there.
Sir, anything? Yeah, not now, but add anything basically left out or not covered by others. So you can.
Well, in fact, it was quite interesting to hear Professor Esan Singh. I think he has given quite a good insights about what is going on technically. Generally, you don't get to know what is happening being an administrator. And then he has shared, I think your thoughts are very unique, and I really hope that the people of your stature, background, institution can really do wonderful. In fact, the Professor Jha was making a very important point that he had a meeting with the ICT, and then what exactly they were thinking, because I was there 20 years back and their thought process was something different. And today, maybe because of NEP 2020, things might have changed. And maybe in the leadership, there may be a lot of changes in their thought process, particularly when that ICT itself is going to be closed down. And if it is happening, then maybe that it will be easy for us to handle ICT at this particular moment and get that TNL, approved to somehow from ICT before it is, dissolved. That was my thought process. I think Dr. Anil Kumar has given a wonderful insights again from the different perspective as to how, in case you are not able to get that Parliament Act, or in case we don't even go to ICT, then the other ways how institution of engineers can take their initiatives forward. So these are the very important thought process and input that has come today. And I'm extremely, hopeful and that with the new team, the things definitely will take a shape, because if it is not today, as I said, we already lost an opportunity 20 years back. Now this is another opportunity, and we must grab this opportunity in two hands because the occasion is absolutely right. Time is perfect because 100 years we have completed. And secondly, NEP 2020. And if it is not today, I think Institution of Engineers will be finished forever. And we have a responsibility to really, bring that institution back on track, and on, we can possibly encast still on the past glory of Institution of Engineers and play our decisive role in really taking institution to a great height. And in fact, I propose to Dr. Anil that we have such a wonderful team, and there's no dearth of talent in our country, and particularly the people associated with the Institution of Engineers, like Professor Yashan Singh, Professor Jha, and there are many, many others. And in fact, I also had an opportunity to have some kind of interaction with Professor C.S. Jha and his student, who was, Professor S.S. Murthy, was the IIT Delhi head of the department, and then he was the NIT director, and he was the vice chancellor of Central University. So they are stalwarts. Even we can perhaps reach out to all the IIT directors, NIT directors. They can give us a solid platform because of their position at this moment, and we can take things forward. But then all that, in fact, my only apprehension is that we are now the fence sitters. We are only discussing about the agenda for an organization which doesn't belong to us in true sense, and we don't have any control on the leadership. So unless that happens, the very first thing that we need to do is to send the right kind of team, right kind of people to the council, and then that we say to the council members as an outsiders, and then we perhaps share our thoughts and give our support from this newly established platform, the Rebuilding Institute of Engineers. Is a beautifully done and everything well articulated. That's really amazing. I think a lot of our team members have already done the job for last 1 year, I believe. And now it is the right time that we are talking together. And there are many, many, people who are left out. I think if we can somehow reach out to the alumni of the all NITs and IITs, and if some of them must be members, may not be all, but then that kind of initiative should be needed. But the time is not there with us because there's hardly, I think, a few days left for election to be over. And this is the time that at least we should send some kind of message to the team that yes, we are here to support you, and then with a particular mission, because as I said, this is I should say that along with the Industrial Revolution 4.0, I think there is a revolution here within our country for the particular profession, engineering profession in particular, and this transformation is needed, and we are all together on this mission. And thank you so much. I think that is what even Dr. Anil Kumar possibly can add few things, and I'll be happy whatever manner it is possible and it is expected of me. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. So I would request now, Professor Jha, sir, please continue.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Then second thing is, recently I have attended meeting of AICT as EC member, because I am EC member of that. So, sir, a concept of dual degree is also coming. Like suppose you can also do BTech in that. Also credit bank will be there at all the institution and all these things, and then credit transfer. This is all the part of NEP also, National Education Policy. So in that also can be and all these things for that. Certainly, the government AICT is also in a process. The modalities and all these things.
Sir, your sound is breaking too much. We are not able to hear.
Days, and then we will also. Sir, now I'm audible, sir.
Yeah, sir. I think you can switch off your video. Then slightly bandwidth will be better, and only audio will be there. Then it will be fine.
Yes, sir. Okay. Okay. Then, sir, what happens nowadays? If you see the composition of NIT board of governor, like we have representing like two in NITs, two representative from state government, then two representative from, you can say, NIT council, like union minister, they nominate and all these things. But sir, it is the need of the hour that this professional body representative, which was earlier in, I think I have seen in many of the at national level, it is missing in at CFTI and all these things. So in all the, you can say, central university, NITs, IITs, and all these things, representative of professional body is required, so that at least we can take many things. Then, sir, one thing I have in my mind also again regarding engineers, because sir, what happens nowadays and in some of the country, but in US, so their center in India, they have large number of center. If you see American Institute of Chemical Engineers, they are giving free student membership to India, and then many student chapters and all these things, it has been initiated, started in many parts. So sir, why we cannot go to other countries? And again in NEP also, if you see, sir, this Institute of Engineers can help the top world ranking institution to start their you can say a center institution in India. And again with this our you can say
Again, I think you lost.
I think there's some
center in other countries, we can universities, if suppose, so like that's actually our visibility and all these things, or you can say our contribution will be more. So this is also one of the things we certainly after this rebuilding should take and in future also these are one of the these things which we must do. So I think that this is due to the problem in and all these things. So I want to conclude with this. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. So I request Dr. Anil Kumar, sir, to kindly give his last piece of note. And if any, we have not got any query as such, except few, which I would like request our panelists to answer if it is accordingly. There was one question from this is regarding that the question is like that. I understood that the responsibility of preparing a draft revised engineers bill is with EICT now. So is the Institution of Engineers trying to take it under it? This is the question from one of the participants. So I request any one of the panelists to kindly answer it accordingly. Yeah.
I can here say a few things, because now, as you know, a new NEP, even though AICT is also going to be revamped, because there will be only one umbrella where everything will be there. So AICT, etc. also it is going to be, even though there was a chance that only UGC will be there. In the UGC, there will be different branches. So nowadays, various councils are there. This is a technical architecture, you can say pharmacy, other things. So this is also going to be changed in the new education policy. So once, no doubt, the AICT was also instrumental in our engineers bill, and they were trying, but finally it was not even the table in the parliament. Although it tabled, but it was not even discussed. So that may be the future. We have to take in the refresh, and fresh look is required on this issue. And once everything will be clear in the NEP and it will be implemented properly, then we have to frame and you have to see what things are, why it is a hesitant, people are there, so that we can remove those things. And in the new environment, we have to come forward where your AMI is also one of the issues. So that will be basically seen in maybe in the future years. This is from my side.
Thank you, sir. So there is another query also, which is for all the speakers as well as panelists. Like it is said that internationally, IEI is the only organization in India recognized by NCEES for validating our application for PE examination. There's a PE examination. even to appear for the examination. How do we lose the status of importance inside India? So this gentleman wants to know, this kind of a question has been raised.
Already we spoke on this issue, why this IEI is going in this wrong way.
Yes.
And
Yes,
already
sir.
we are trying to again revamp this. And that is a motive of the rebuilding EI. That's how we can bring back our the glory.
Yes.
And for that, because we were not very towards the what is changing across the
Yes.
globe, we were only confined to the institution of engineers in the AMI examination, and also the internal people, those who were basically taking this platform as there you can say tourism for their halting and taking rest. So that's it should be very active and very good visionary, and the vision should be there. There should be one think tank that they should see for the future for 5-10 years planning, and always it should be debated at the various level. Second thing is the connection of the people is missing. You see, any other professional body, the connection earlier it was people were connected to the institution of engineers, and that connect is missing. And in the professional body, if the connect is missing, that institution will never work and it will die. It has to die. And that basically we have to have the connection. How we can go to the grassroots level, as already Dr. Nath told, that go into any academic institution, they will say, EI is nothing, and that they are not even able to become the member, which is very small amount. So that basically is missing. So that it is a slowly and slowly we have to connect. We have to give the opportunity to them. We have to basically try to do something so that it is some branch level, student level, or maybe the conference, connection, publications, and many things we can do. And based on that, we have to revive our EI. Certainly we have to do. It is from my side. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. And we have also got many supporting feedback from many participants that it is a very, IEI is a very good initiative, and I hope, and they are feeling that it will bring some changes in the system in IEI. That is the comments given by many of the participants today. So I think with this event, we have come to an end of the event for today's event. And I would like to thank all those eminent speakers as well as our panelists for being a part of this discussion and taking it into a different level. And I'm also thankful to our participants who have spared their valuable time to attend this particular event. And I request all of you that this rebuilding IEI, it's not only an initiative, it's a kind of a step towards, bringing good governance in the Institution of Engineers India across Pan India and also across the board. So with these few words, I would like to thank one and all for this wonderful webinar today. And with this note, we would like to conclude here. Jai Hind. Thank you so much.